Jake, I got to ask you, and it's the question that I've wanted, and I know you usually don't ask boxers this, but I am going to ask you, what is your bold-faced prediction for February 26th in Riyadh?
I'm knocking him out 4 rounds or less. Bet the house on it. Put your mortgage on it.
Since he's not here, are you annoyed or you upset or what?
No, I'm used to his behavior at this point. You know, he's unprofessional. He's a flake. He's not a serious businessman. He's not a serious fighter. And I'm going to prove that. That's why this fight's called The Truth, because the truth's going to come out. And he's going to have to pay for all the times he pulled out, all the business people he screwed over. It's disrespectful. There's some of the biggest names in boxing, some of the biggest promoters in the world, some of the most influential people in the world, one of the greatest countries in the world, and he doesn't want to show up because, a private matter. Cool. Yeah, we all have private matters. When you sign up to do something and you make a commitment, that's what it should be about. And it just shows me that he's scared because he said he didn't need to train for this fight. Oh, I could fight Jake Paul and I don't even have to train. But meanwhile, his excuse first was that he had to train extra for this fight. And now apparently it's a private matter. So it's typical Fury stuff. I love Tyson, but I'm saying the dad and Tommy, it's typical from them.
Okay. I hope he's listening to that. I'll be excited to watch this fight. So, how many rounds do you think the fight will go on?
3 to 4 rounds. The kid's never been tested. He's never been in a hard fight. His combined record of opponents is 20 wins, 200 losses. He's never been 8 rounds. He's never been in there with a dog. And I have something to prove. I have 2 chips on my shoulder. People say I got a chip on my shoulder. I got 2 of them. And he's been spoon-fed his whole entire life, piggybacked off of his brother, got into the business because that's what he was supposed to do. He didn't know anything else to do. Got famous off of some reality show, and now is just riding the wave, trying to get a paycheck so that Molly isn't the one making all the money in the relationship. But I'm going to show him on February 26th that this is the hurt business. He's not going to like this sport after I'm done with them.
You know, the way I'm seeing this is like, if he beats you,
not a possibility.
Okay, let's say if he beats you, yes.
I mean, we could talk about aliens. We could talk about UFOs, stuff that doesn't exist.
They only come out in America.
He can't beat me. It doesn't exist.
They only come out in America. Yeah, but if he beats you, yeah, yes, he shouldn't beat you. But if you beat him, he got beat by a YouTuber. So what I'm trying to figure out is your last 4 opponents. Yeah, your last fight. Where was it? In Vegas?
No. Arizona. Phoenix, yeah.
You British. And your last shot you knocked him down on, people didn't say you didn't catch him right on that, and he stayed down. Can you try and correct that for me?
I mean, it's hilarious. Like, there's multiple camera angles that show the punch landing on his chin. It's disrespectful to Anderson Silva, one of the greatest combat strikers of all time, one of the greatest combat athletes of all time, to say that he took a fall or took a dive. And he was coming to fight, coming to win, trying to take my head off, and I was the better man that night. Thank you. Yeah, and thank you to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for having me, this beautiful place. Thank you to the Ministry of Sport and Prince Khalid. I love it here, so thank you guys so much for having me. Shukran.
Afwan. Jake, do you feel extra pressure from this fight? Now, look, let's talk openly. Everybody says he's never fought a real boxer. He's never fought somebody that is a purebred boxer. He's fighting MMA guys. He's fighting old guys. He's fighting basketball players. Do you feel pressure in taking this challenge and fighting not just a real undefeated boxer, but somebody that comes from a boxing family?
I don't feel the pressure. This is just another fight to me. This is what I do for a living now. I spar against harder professional boxers in the gym than this guy, world champions, people who are ranked #1 in their division. I'm sparring Moosin Kaysen, who's on the undercard. Shout out to Moosin, but I'm sparring, Chad Dawson. The list goes on. Multiple world champions, and Tommy is just another speed bump. And I'm gonna prove that I'm here to stay. I'm going to prove my work ethic. I'm going to prove my power, my stamina, my athletic ability, and my boxing IQ. That's one thing that people don't really realize, that I take this sport seriously. I study it. I live, I breathe this sport. And Tommy is just not that guy.
Well, let me flip the script then, Jake. Do you think Tommy, you've heard Tyson Fury say, if Tommy Fury loses, he can just stay in Saudi Arabia. Do you think that mounts pressure on Tommy?
I think there's a ton of pressure on him. He's never been a main event. He's never fought 8 rounds. He's never fought someone like me. He's never done this much media, this much attention, this much trash talk. So the pressure's going to get to him. He just had a kid. You know, this is really his only chance to become something. After this, it's, you know, it's back to whatever the kid does. So the pressure's on him for sure. And he probably will have to stay here in Saudi, and maybe he wants to. It's really nice here. Maybe he can become Cristiano Ronaldo's, you know, masseuse or something.
All right. Let's turn and talk about a little bit about the question that I asked Nikisa. Do you feel the pressure? I mean, how do you handle the criticism of, listen, Jake Paul is not a real boxer. He's an influencer that's dabbling in boxing. I think very few people know of the commitment that you've made in moving, selling your house, and doing this thing full time. How do you handle that criticism, Jake?
Look, I embrace it. I embrace it. And whenever you're doing something different, whenever you're changing the game, innovating, people are going to be mad. Of course the taxi drivers were mad at Uber. Of course. And that's what I'm doing. I'm doing things differently. I'm shaking the pot. And I get that. I have to prove myself. I let my actions speak louder than my words. And I have a lot of words. And I say a lot of stuff. But I always back it up with action. And people will see how serious I am. This is my life. And I don't take it lightly. It's a very serious sport. It's the hardest sport in the world, and I've played every single sport. And so I know that when you're in there, your life's on the line. And if you think that I take my life as a joke, then you're playing yourself.
Jake, you've made some announcements of different things that you're doing, and I know you're not looking past Tommy, but what are your plans after Tommy Fury?
I think I'm going to call it Prince Khalid and see if we can just vacation in Saudi. I might just chill out here for a bit, you know.
I think Prince Khalid would love to have you vacation here back in the kingdom.
And Tommy's going to be here too, you know, so maybe I could beat him up again.
I remember when you made you had your first fight on your brother's undercard in Manchester. And you had fought Deji. You had a great performance. After that, you fought another influencer in Anderson Gibb. Tremendous performance. Then it went on to Ben Askren. Then it went on the 2 Tyron Woodley fights. And then it gradually grew into the Anderson Silva fight. And I'll tell you, and I think that a lot of people have the same kind of mindset, is that was the test for me to see if this guy can mount under the pressure. But this test is the truth in you fighting a real boxer. Have you prepared any differently for Tommy Fury than you have your previous opponents?
Not at all. Yeah, I always take my opponents super seriously. And Anderson Silva, you know, has been in there with the best people in the world. Tommy Fury hasn't. I was messaging with Tyron Woodley today, actually, and he was like, man, Tommy's an easier fight than me and Anderson. I was like, yeah. But that's not what the people think. What does real boxer mean? I mean, anyone can go down the street and get a professional boxing license, you know? There's people who just do it for paychecks. He has a last name, a glorified last name, and that's what's gotten him this far. And he's, you know, semi-good looking and was on a reality show. But real boxer, whatever it is, I've been in there with real fighters who were the best combat strikers at the time in their generation and outboxed them. So February 26th, that's why it's called The Truth. We will see the truth of who the real boxer is.
Derek, thoughts?
What happens if he knocks you out?
He couldn't knock out Daniel Bochinski, a taxi driver, in 6 rounds. The guy doesn't have power. He couldn't knock out Anthony Taylor. Couldn't even wobble him. Couldn't even hurt him. Anthony Taylor was 25 pounds less than the guy. The guy doesn't have a high KO percentage. And yeah, normally I build up my opponents, right? But it's just hard. It's just hard. Like, I don't know. I'm just telling the truth, and people are gonna see. People are gonna see, and I don't know. Like, they're gonna be astonished, I guess.